Hey everyone, welcome to this June monthly Plan With Me video. For this month's theme, I decided to draw capybaras and oranges. I was inspired by my friend's tutorial of two adorable capybaras snuggling, which I will show you and talk more about in the weekly spreads in the next video coming out after this one. I'm just getting started on the calendar page over here. As I was planning the colors, I started to realize that I may not want a dark black outline around the calendar and characters this month, and I decided to challenge myself to not use any black fine liner for these pages. The color palette is mostly pink, blue, and orange with a little bit of green, and I wanted to keep the pages really soft looking. This ended up being a really fun challenge for me, and it required me to get creative and use different pens and markers that I haven't used before in my journal. I'm drawing 7 oranges here, which will be the days of the week for this calendar spread. This orange isn't a color that I've used very often before, and I really love how bright and happy it looks with the rest of the colors in this theme. When I started sketching these pages, I thought they would primarily be focused around the capybaras, and then I really ended up falling in love with these adorable little oranges, and I think on some pages they kind of steal the show. Here I'm outlining each element before coloring it in, which is now my preferred way of coloring without a fine liner outline. I say that because on the next page I did most of the coloring the opposite way, where I colored first and outlined second, and I just don't enjoy how it turned out quite as much. I discovered that even though I didn't use a solid black outline for everything, I still enjoy having a guideline of where the marker should be confined to when coloring, if that makes sense. I created this little orange and leaf pattern for the space of the calendar where the days haven't started yet. I thought this would be a fun design that I could carry on into the weekly spreads as well, and I just really enjoy creating cute, simple patterns like this. They don't require a whole lot of thinking for me, and sometimes I really appreciate that. Now I'm drawing in the lines across the top of the boxes of the calendar where the days of the month will be numbered. And then drawing in the lines around the calendar itself in this light pink color. I did have to double up the lines with this color because it is very light, but I love the softness that it created. I'll leave notes below about all of the marker colors and types of markers and pens that I use throughout these monthly pages in case you're curious. And please let me know in the comments how you like to create your drawings. Do you use a black fine liner? Do you like to avoid using dark outlines? Or is there something I'm totally not thinking of? I'm definitely curious to try out more techniques now. In the future, I think I would also like to try using a sepia fine liner for a softer look, or maybe during fall or at a time where I'll be creating more cozy or outdoor types of drawings. I really love trying new techniques and seeing how different pages can look just by changing something like the outline. So please let me know of any fun ideas you've tried yourself or seen from others. I'm numbering the days of the month with these Pentel brush sign pens that I actually got for hand lettering, but they work really well for writing out small numbers and letters throughout these pages. I absolutely love my Tombow dual brush pens, but the fine tip side of it is sometimes a little too large for writing in smaller areas, so these Pentels came in super handy. And I actually used them in some of the weekly spreads to outline my characters instead of the black fine liner that I would usually use. So I was really happy to have these on hand when I decided to not use black outlines this month. Moving over to the June cover page art now, where this little capybara is taking a bath with some oranges and his little duck friend. This tall, skinny font came about because it seemed to fit in this extra space quite well, and I decided to continue using it throughout the pages going forward. I'm erasing some of my heavier pencil lines because sometimes they can get trapped under the marker color once it's laid down and can be hard to erase after. And now I'm beginning to color without having created an outline first. This worked out fairly well for the capybara, but once I got to the tub, I realized that outlines are rather important for me. This is when I like to remind myself that I use this bullet journal as a sketchbook and not a place to create perfect art. And that through trial and error is how we learn and figure out what works for us. And that was definitely the case with my no black fine liner challenge. Even though the pencil guidelines were there, I wasn't really sticking to them as well as I think I would have if I had drawn an outline first. So bear with me through the ugly stage of this drawing. I think it all came together in the end, but sometimes we just need to get through some rough stages first. And now I know I will be that much better prepared next time I try to do my drawings without fine liner. And honestly, I'm really enjoying this look, so we'll see. July may be drawn in a similar way. I'm drawing in some lines here to look like planks in the wood of this capybara's tub. And then drawing some details to add to the wood grain appearance. It's recently started getting rather hot where I live and had me thinking that capybaras really have it figured out with how much they like to hang out in the water. And I just really enjoyed looking at photos of them hanging out in water and seeing oranges floating around them in some of the photos. I think they're so adorable, so it was really easy to find inspiration for this theme. I had to outline this little duck a few times because the yellow was so light. And then I of course had to add some sparkles around them as well because sparkles make everything better. Then I'm just coloring in the water. And adding some detail. A shadow under the tub, some dots around the sparkles, and just a few highlights in the water and on the oranges. And this is how the final calendar and cover pages turned out. Now we're moving on to my tracker pages. I'm starting off by drawing 4 squares where I can write various notes and odds and ends. One is for my Etsy shop, another is for household things like remembering when I last vacuumed or that I need to put a maintenance request in. And then I have an area for things I need to buy soon, and also a box for ideas that come about throughout the month. So I'm just trying to use that tall, skinny font that I created on the previous page to fill out the title for each box. And then I'm just coming in with a light blue and light pink color to break up all of the white space in these boxes and create some visual interest with these pastel lines. And okay, I know I said in my last video that daily trackers were not my vibe right now, but I guess it really grew on me, which I didn't expect. Because over the course of tracking my mood for the month of May, I discovered that I really enjoy checking in at the end of each day with my bullet journal. I found that having my phone remind me every night to check in developed this habit, and that I really enjoy this time to pause and recap what has happened during the day. So I decided to continue on with tracking a few things this month, and I think I'm hooked now and totally understand why y'all like habit tracking so much. On this page, I decided to elaborate on how I was tracking my video creation process, similar to last month where I drew flowers and colored in their petals as I progressed through each step of creating these videos. It was a fun way to hold myself accountable, making sure I was completing all of the necessary steps and also allowing myself a moment to step away and do something fun and creative by coloring. So this month I gave myself more detailed pictures to color. I have a general guideline on a separate piece of paper of what object or character will be colored in as each task gets done. Something like a color by number merged with a to-do list. I'm not sure if this sounds confusing, but for example, I colored in the first capybara when I got the sketches done for this video, and then colored in the next capybara when I got the color palette figured out, and then colored in the picture frame when I took the photos of the finished bullet journal spreads, and so on and so forth. I will pop up a picture of how this coloring process is coming along as I'm editing this video. So the pictures I drew kind of go along with my video process, where in the first picture the capybara is sketching out his artwork, in the next one he's editing the video footage, and the next one he's recording the voiceover, as I'm doing right now. And in the final one he's enjoying some time outdoors as a reward for all of his hard work. There are so many steps to creating these videos, and I always try to find a way to make it fun to accomplish each step along the way. It was also nice to have an excuse to doodle a few more things in my bullet journal. Now that I'm getting into a rhythm of creating these videos, the next thing I need to figure out is how to be better about posting on my socials. I'm sure I could create a whole other tracker dedicated to that alone, but that is a project for next month. I'm just drawing in a few more floating oranges and waves. And these are the final tracker pages. Moving on to the final pages of this monthly spread, which are my memory pages. I'm starting off using a gray Pentel brush pen to outline the word memories. Looking at it now, I suppose I could have outlined it in the same pink that I used to number the calendar, because this gray is rather dark, but I think it still created a lighter and softer look that I was going for by not using a solid black fine liner this time around. Around this fun faux lettering, I recreated the oranges and leaves pattern that I used in the calendar spread. And outside of this patterned box, I'm going with a similar layout to last month, where I have a lot of small boxes and I can write a header for each topic at the top of each box. Certain topics like music often require multiple boxes for me, and this layout gives me the freedom to use as many or as few boxes as I need for each area of my life that I want to take note of. Currently, as I record this, I have boxes written out for my favorite Bible verses, the books I'm reading, the food I've been making, TV shows I'm watching, as well as the music I'm listening to right now. And as the month goes on, I will continue writing down little moments or things that I'm enjoying, because I think it'll be really fun to just have these little snapshots of what was going on in my life during each month. So I've really been enjoying the versatility of this very open style layout. I'm drawing the outline of this box now and having the blue lines come just up to the oranges and leaves. I like these objects to have their own color outline merge with the blue outline that goes around the entire box. I often do this with my digital art as well, and I think it creates a really cool look to the frame. Then I'm finally coloring in the faux lettering with this pink color. Next, I'm drawing in the boxes that I spoke about earlier and coloring in the headers where I can write in different memory topics. Then I added a simple drop shadow around the sides of each of the boxes, but apparently my phone got bored and couldn't be bothered to continue recording, so we'll jump ahead to the finished pages here. And here is the final flip through of the June monthly pages. I had so much fun drawing and creating this theme, and I'm super excited to show y'all the weekly spreads that are coming up in the next video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.